Yo guys, what's going on? I'm Tim Kelly along with Justin Godsey, and we are extremely pissed heading into this video as not only did A-Rod's name come out again last week, no shock there, we saw one of our favorite players, personally, between both of us, we like this guy, Nelson Cruz, his name came out, Gio Gonzalez's name came out. And then today, another bomb's dropped on the MLB. We see Danny Valencia, who obviously his stuff didn't work very well. Francisco Cervelli, who goes in the same class. And one Ryan Braun. I mean, I am watching sports at this point. You can't have heroes in the game anymore. And I understand. Justin and I are 17, 18. We probably shouldn't even be looking at athletes as heroes at this point. We're not 5 years old. I understand that. But it's just something that I've always done. And Ryan Braun's one of my favorite players. He's listed in this again. And it's not that I ever believed Ryan Braun last year. I knew that was complete bullshit. And I said it at the time last year. And I said it in the All-Star game how much of a joke it was that Ryan Braun was even allowed to play in it because he should have been suspended. I said all that. I got killed, and once again I was right. Just like I said when A-Rod said he only took steroids from 2001 to 2003, that was a joke, and I got killed for that, and then it just comes out last week that I was dead on 110% right. But Ryan Braun listed on this list, Justin. He won MVP 2 years ago. This came out. He got off on a technicality. And then this year he hits 41 more home runs. I believe he finished right behind Buster Posey for the NL MVP. I don't even know what to say anymore, man. I'm not surprised, but I'm never surprised by anything anymore.
You know what? I agree with you, man. It's hard to have heroes now. And with 2013 starting off in the way that it has with, with the NFL and the Ray Lewis allegations that he took deer antler spray. We've talked about that already. And this thing about baseball, this clinic giving out, like, what's it called again? It's like age differential or whatever,
I don't even know exactly what it is, and I think it's a different, different substances per player, so I don't know exactly. All I know is that this clinic, the Biogenesis clinic in Miami, Florida, had a list of names that came out today that while this lab is being raided or whatever, the MLB's investigating it, and there's a list, if you go to Yahoo Sports, that is the name Alex Rodriguez at the top, Melky Cabrera, and I mean, those two guys might be the biggest juicers that we've seen in the MLB. Then you have Ryan Braun, and just a list of a few more really irrelevant players, but I don't even know what to think anymore.
I honestly think that there's going to be more players who have not been tested positive for steroids. I just have a gut feeling that there's going to be more players just to come out with their names being on a list or something. I just have a gut feeling that this is not going to be over. We're still going to have more players come out. That's just a gut feeling. But if it stops here, and this is all that it is, you know what? Ryan Braun took steroids. He already been suspended for it. Melky Cabrera did steroids. Already been suspended for it. And we all know that A-Rod's a juicer. This is just a joke.
And you know what? Justin just said it perfectly. He said A-Rod's a juicer. And you know what? To someone who's a Yankees fan or someone who's clueless, and I'm not saying Yankees fans are clueless, is a clueless defendant of Alex Rodriguez, they might say, "Oh, you sound biased. That doesn't sound professional." You know what? What isn't professional is these guys continuing to cheat when you know that there's absolutely no chance, and then going up there and lying to us. Alex Rodriguez, I use it from 2001 to 2003. That's bullshit. Alex Rodriguez has been using that since he was in high school. It came out in Sports Illustrated, and no one wanted to believe it. Melky Cabrera was a fourth outfielder who could barely crack the Yankees lineup, and the only claim to fame he had was the fact that his name sounded like milk. That was the only claim to fame Melky Cabrera had, and then all of a sudden he was leading the MLB in hits, and the superstar in the Kansas City Royals, and then the Giants, and then then he just magically gets suspended. And then you got Ryan Braun coming out on this list, coming out vehemently denying it, lying to us last year, and giving us this whole story about how, well, I've never tested positive, this was just something that they didn't handle the test correctly. Well, maybe you should have said at that point that, you know what, in the past I used a banned substance, or in the past I took a substance, something. Even if you say that I took something, I don't think it was banned, I think it was fine, but I took it just for future reference. Man, Justin and I grew up watching Barry Bonds and Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire, and throughout that,
all in their prime.
Yeah, throughout that entire period, it was magical to watch. I mean, we were 3-4 years old. That's the time when you really start to love the game if you're a true fan. And we grew up.
I apologize, but now the younger fans in baseball are now jumping back into like the steroid era. This is just like steroid era volume 2.
It's not quite as bad because we're not as like unaware of it. But what we get out of this now is we experienced that through our childhood, and it almost taints it as a baseball fan, because I will stick to this. You are the biggest sports fan when you're a kid, and to me, sports was all that mattered to me as a kid. Now I have a life, Justin and I have a life. You know, there's other things. There's other important things. We're still huge sports fans. But when you're a kid and you want to sit down and you just want to watch some baseball and root for your heroes, and then you find out they're cheating, okay, that's one thing. MLB tried to clean it up. It appeared like they did for a while. And there was still this awkward 5-year period where guys like Prince Fielder, Ryan Howard, sluggers that came in, it was like, well, if somebody hits 40 home runs, they're on steroids. It's like you don't have to have any proof. It was that that the MLB had so many guys that had done something bad that every single guy who came in and was a good power hitter, even if they were clean, people started accusing them of steroids. Then we finally got to the 2006 to 2009. You know, as most of the steroid players, either their careers were winding down or they were done, and we were getting a new generation, and it was a different time in baseball, and it seemed like it was over. You know, I'm not stupid. I know some people are still going to use things, but then, within this last year, to hear that we still got not just fringe players, we got Ryan Braun still using them. We have Alex Rodriguez, who's clinched it with this to be the most unlikable sports athlete in history. And then,
to be honest, sorry, you go ahead.
Then we got Melky Cabrera. Go ahead.
To be honest with you, I'm going to come out and say it. I was a huge A-Rod fan. Yes, before I knew the steroids. Now that I know that he took steroids and juiced up, this is just complete bullshit. I lost a lot of respect as a sports fan to a player. I just completely, like, I had an A-Rod poster that has been following me since, like, he started with the Yankees. Now I had to take it down because, you know what, I don't like juicers, I don't like people who have got to freaking bulk up and take steroids, put their bodies in harm's way, because you know what the long-term effects of steroids is. And, you know, go out there and just mess up their bodies just to be, you know, in my prime in baseball, I'm going to go out there and become a Hall of Famer while juicing up. That's not what sports is about. I think this is complete bullshit. I think these guys should be suspended for a long period of time.
You know, I'm getting to the point where I think that it should just be, if this comes out, you should just be thrown out of the MLB. And that sounds so stupid, but that seems like the only way to clean it up. Is that, you know what? You cheat once and you're done. And then you'll see all these Players Association people saying that that's a stupid philosophy. But the bottom line is you don't have to cheat. I'm an athlete and I'm on the fringe of trying to play sports in college. And you know what? If I don't make it, I don't know what the hell I'm going to do with my life. Well, I know what I'm going to do with my life, but I don't know how to not play sports. But I'm going to go ahead and try and do things the right way. I'm not going to cheat. I'm not going to take steroids, HGH, SG1. I'm not going to go down to Kmart and go in the section where there's Axe and say, yo, bro, can you point me out the deer antler spray? I'm not going to do any of that because you know what? that's not real. That's not your real life. It's about doing what you're making the best out of what you are capable of doing. And there's part of me that says I can understand why a guy who's in AAA, who's coming from the Dominican Republic, uses steroids to make a better life for his family. But does Alex Rodriguez really need the money? Does Ryan Braun? I mean, it's just sickening to me, and nothing's real anymore. And I don't know what to say. They shouldn't just say, you know what, screw it, make steroids legal. But I don't know what they're gonna do, because it doesn't seem like there's a true solution for this. And until then, I've gone through pretty much my entire life of baseball wondering if my favorite players cheated, and fortunately most of them haven't, but certainly some of them have. I mean, I was a huge Manny Ramirez fan, and that came out. And you wonder who's next, really. I mean, Justin said that there's going to be more lists. There's still that 03 report that not every name's been released. There's still tons of other lists. I mean, if I go back and I think about, Justin, if you think about the early 2000s, how many of the superstars back then weren't taking steroids? I can count them on like one. The only guys that come to mind for me, 3 guys, all first ballot Hall of Famers: Randy Johnson, Ken Griffey Jr., and Jim Thome. Other than that, man, it's all been
Kurt Schilling?
Yeah, well, Kurt Schilling's not a first ballot Hall of Famer, but he's borderline. That's a good name, but in general, I mean, Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa, Barry Bonds, David Ortiz, Manny Ramirez, the list goes on. Ryan Braun, Alex Rodriguez, Jason Giambi, everybody was cheating, and you thought that was over, and that was just like a chapter in baseball that we could try and act like it never happened. Well, doesn't seem like that's the scenario. I don't know what the MLB is going to do, but man, even hardcore baseball fans are getting to the point where we're getting tired of it. I'm Tim, along with Justin. See you guys later.